I am a grotesquely long and grotesquely thin shadow of a man with razor-sharp claws and burning coal eyes, gently floating 3/4 of the way between the floor and the ceiling of this hospital room in the world of despair and decay. I try my best not to look at him, but accidentally glance at the 7-year-old boy sitting on the floor, hugging his knees, staring in front of himself with painful apathy in his eyes. He's here. He's definitely here. Leave me alone! I scream at him, and with everything I have, I try to float away from him. But the more I struggle to get away, the closer an invisible force pushes me. I can't stand to look at him. Those eyes. When the nurses and doctors come in, I shout at them to let me out of here. I can't spend another day in here with him. This is torture. But they don't come in here for me. They always attend to the boy. I float closer and yell at them. Why are you here to see him? He's not even real. It's me. I'm the one that needs help. But they pretend to not hear anything I say and continue to take care of the boy. They feed him. They clean him. They ask him some questions. They always ask him questions. But he rarely answers. Sometimes they take him somewhere else, but not for long enough. And he always returns with those horrible eyes with nothing in them. Nothing, but full of pain and fear. I just saw him look at me. Just a quick glance. He rarely looks at me directly, just a few times a day. He probably thinks I didn't notice. I wail and struggle to get away from his terrible glance, but once again I just flow closer. When will I learn? Even if he doesn't look at me that much, I know he's always aware of me. Most of the time, even when he sleeps, which is only for a couple of hours a day. No matter how much medicine the doctors and nurses pump him full of, they always talk amongst themselves about hallucinations, schizophrenia, psychosis, things like that. And I feel like peeling their skin off to finally get their attention. After all, I am the one that really needs help, not the boy. He has to go, so I can get some peace. Then one day a doctor comes in who I haven't seen before. He talks to the boy patiently, something about an experimental drug. He says this drug really can help him. I scream. Once again, it's not me they're trying to help. It's that little abomination. The boy nods and agrees to try the new medicine. It's an injection. He flinches as the needle tears a hole in his thin skin. The light yellow liquid slowly disappears into his vein, and I catch him glance at me again. The terror comes over me as always, but this time it goes away relatively quickly. In its place, a hint of hope. Something has changed. But the relief doesn't last long. A day later, all I can do is scream from panic and terror. He's staring at me, straight up staring at me. Not just glances like before. No, this time he's looking right at me. The agony is unbearable. But then between his screams, I notice something. He seems slightly transparent. Or am I just imagining things? I force myself to quit screaming, and I slowly float away. I try to not look at him anymore, but his stare pierces through me. It burns no matter what I do, even if I turn away. But the feeling of hope returns. If he really is transparent, then maybe, just maybe, this time he'll really go away, like the ones before him. The next day, he's barely visible. Only his empty black eyes stare at me. I try to keep the screaming to a minimum. On day 3, there are only the eyes. Horrible, scary, still staring at me. Somehow, the last day feels the longest, and I almost lose it. But the next morning, he's finally gone. The relief I feel is unimaginable. This was the most terrible creature I've ever seen. This 7-year-old boy, but he's not here anymore. and it is finally time to relax. I stretch myself as long as possible and lazily float around about 3/4 of the way between the floor and the ceiling of the hospital room. In this shadow world of despair and decay, nothing and no one can disturb my peace. That is, until someone new comes in here. But I try not to think about that.